Hey guys, what's up? So we've got some brand new cards that are coming into Phantom Rage, and it's an archetype that you may or may not be familiar with. These are the UAs, or the Ultra Athletes. There have been previous ones before. They've not really seen much play outside of something like Duel Links, which were popular for a specific time until some more powerful decks have been released. But we'll have a look anyway. So the first card is Libra Spiker. This is an Earth level 4 warrior monster with 1800 attack and 1800 defense. You can special summon using the procedure written in the first effect with this card's name only once per turn. You can use the second effect with this card's name only once per turn. So 1, you can special summon this card from your hand by returning one UA monster you control to the hand, except a copy of itself. 2, during your opponent's main phase, as a quick effect, you can shuffle one level 5 or higher UA monster from your hand into the deck, and if you do, special summon one UA monster with a different name from that monster from your deck, and return this card from the field to your hand. So the whole purpose of the UAs is they interact a lot by basically changing each other out. They kind of tag themselves out. You can consider it a little bit like gladiator beasts, but instead of what the gladiator beasts do, which is to tag each other out after they've kind of destroyed a monster or been in battle with the monster with a card, another version in the deck. This works mostly with hand interaction, so you can actually trade in one for another. This is actually a decent stat line for a level 4 monster. The ability to kind of special summon from the first effect is just normally part of their effect. Of course, you don't have to special summon this card. It's actually okay if you don't. Being a level 4, it's just a staple card you're going to have to run at least 2 or 3 of. The second effect is quite decent as well. I think it's Dunker. I can't remember which one. When it's summoned, I think it's level 7. When it's summoned from onto the field, it actually instantly destroys a card. So if you're able to trade in one of your other monsters to bring that out, and specifically since it's from the deck, you have a lot more selection. If it's been the hand, that might have been a bit more of an issue. So you actually have a pick of whichever effect you kind of need to rely on for that turn. It being a quick effect as well means it's meant to disrupt your opponent's plays, which is always a nice effect to have in there as well. The next card is Ultra Athlete Playing Manager. This is a level 8 Earth Warrior effect monster with 2000 attack and 2600 defense. You can use each effect among the first and second effects with this card's name only once per turn. 1, if you normal or special summon a UA monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. 2, if this card is special summoned, you can activate one of these effects. Target one card on the field and destroy it, or negate the effects of all face-up monsters on the field except UA monsters. I like this card actually. It's one of the kind of boss monsters, and it's not reliant on kind of going back to your hand. So you can actually keep something on the field, which is kind of not necessarily how the original UAs played, but this is actually better to keep some sort of protection. Being able to instantly special summon this card is great because it automatically triggers the second effect. It depends on what you prefer. I would normally go for targeting a card on the field and destroying it. But if your opponent has a lot of disruptive monsters on the field, being able to just completely negate all of their effects automatically without having to kind of trigger anything is one of the best ways to kind of disrupt your opponent. The next card is UA Hyper Stadium. This is a field spell. This card is always treated as an FA card. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. 1, when this card resolves, you can add to your hand one UA monster from your deck, 1 FA monster from your deck, or 1 UA Stadium from your graveyard. 2. You can reveal 1 field spell in your hand and pay 1000 life points. During your main phase's turn, you can normal summon 1 UA or FA monster face up in addition to your normal summon or set. You can only gain this effect once per turn. So the first effect is just one of these searching effects. You're able to either recover something, or you're actually able to, it's kind of trying to blend the two decks together, whereas in the past those decks didn't really work or function that well. So I don't know what to make of that as of yet. I'd need to actually see some gameplay to kind of make a judgment on that. I prefer the second effect, actually, because the UAs run a couple of field spells, and so does the FA. Even though it's a cost of 1000 life points, you can every turn consistently go into another normal summon. This is a little bit like Ultimate Offering, but that costs 500 life points each time you want to summon. Of course, depending on where you are in the duel, if you don't have that many life points, that is a bit of an issue. But I would suggest running some life point support cards just to buffer those if that's what you're lacking, just to kind of boost the effect of this card. You have the next card as UA Locker Room. This is a quick play spell card. This card is always treated as an FA card. You can only activate one of this card's name once per turn. Target 1 UA or FA monster on your field or in your graveyard. Return it to the hand, and if you do gain 500 life points, then you can apply the following effect. Reveal any number of UA or FA monsters in your hand to your opponent, and if you do, shuffle those revealed cards into the deck and draw cards equal to the number returned to the deck. The first effect of this card isn't so great. It's a 500 life point boost, although it does let you recover one of your monsters to your hand if you need to. The second part of the effect is quite good because it helps fuel the cards you draw. Because you have to recover the card first to your hand, and then you shuffle those cards back into the deck. And it's your choice as to how many you reveal. You might think that none of the cards you have are useful to the situation, in which case you basically magical mallet those cards back into the deck, hoping to draw something better. So it helps to reset your hand. Or if you have a couple of useful cards in there, you can choose the ones that you want to get rid of, and that way you've still got a little bit of that consistency left. The next card and the final card is a trap card. It's called UMVP. This card is always treated as an FA card. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. One, if an FA or UA monster you control destroys an opponent's monster by battle, or inflicts battle damage to your opponent. After damage calculation, you can special summon any number of UA and or FA monsters with different names from your hand or graveyard in defense position. This is similar to something like Soul Charge. You're actually able to kind of bring these monsters a lot easier back to your field. The downside of this is it does rely on you to do something before being able to activate it. So you either have to inflict battle damage, or you're going to have to destroy a monster in battle, or do one of both, or do it both. It's a good card. It's actually more useful the longer the duel has gone on for. Of course, I don't see your opponent letting you resolve this if they can avoid it. I like the design of the card. It's good and it's functioning for how they work. My only kind of problem is that it can be quite situational, and in the beginning of a duel it's not that useful. If you draw into, say, multiples of these, then that's a waste of your starting hand. What do you think of these cards? Is there anything you like about them? Is there anything you don't like? Leave your comments down below, like the video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe.